Before you start designing logos in Illustrator, we need to actually sketch a bunch of ideas out. It's a lot easier to do this with a pencil and paper, or some people prefer a journal or some kind of notepad. You can also use a pen, but you won't be able to erase most likely. So the idea is that you're drawing out a bunch of squares, and they're called thumbnails, and you just draw out ideas in them. So this will allow for more ideas more quickly. So one tip is to look at composition. How are the elements in these logos going to be composed? So are you going to use some kind of rule of thirds? Are you going to put some things up top and have something centered, have a symmetrically oriented logo? Are you going to use mostly letters and shapes and so on? So it helps you just start composing the elements. Second tip is to try initials. So a monogram style logo you might try to send to the client as part of your services, not one that's just as spelled out, but also a monogram, or maybe even just one symbol. So try that out and try different shapes of these letters together, just the initials of the company, and see if you can come up with something unique and creative. And the next tip is to sketch shapes. So think about different shapes that you can draw, but this is much easier and quicker just to do with a pencil and paper instead of just trying to right away draw something in Illustrator. So think of different shapes that you can incorporate. Maybe replace a letter with some kind of shape, or add a shape to a letter or the entire word, or enclose it in a shape around the edges and see what you can come up with. And the next tip is to look at negative space. So is there blank space on the edges, up at the top or the bottom? Is there blank space even in the middle, kind of like in the FedEx logo, creating that arrow? So just look at different compositional elements and principles, and you're just coming up with ideas almost like free writing, but you're just drawing. And again, just sketch a lot. You want to go for quantity because you'll get quality out of quantity. So come up with a bunch of different ideas, and then once you have a couple that you like, you can move on to Illustrator.